In life, every sunshine, so fast to thrive, dreaming close, such oh. Okay, good morning. I can see Bruce. I can see my Redeemer. I can see Matthias. I can see the J. I don't know the name. It's written in Arabic, probably. But anyhow, good morning. Good morning. Trust you're all up, well, and alive. Remember, it's our 6 a.m. call every morning to help us start our day energized, motivated, or inspired. And each morning we learn something that transform our lives and helps us become better or do better in all our different spheres of life. And today I'm very excited that we are going to talk about one of the best topics that I really like talking about. And this topic is it's about habits. I'm very sure many of us have different habits. But before we jump into, I would want you to share with me one habit that you think you want to change today, that you have noticed and felt it is not good for you and you want to change. Would you mind sharing? Anybody who's willing to share with us just one habit they think they never like, okay, in themselves or in the people around them. You know, at times we we fear to talk about ourselves. Okay, maybe people don't want to contribute. They leave it up to me. All right. Today we are going to talk about habits. We will know what a habit is, how we can manage it, and how we can get over it, and the way of creating new habits. So every time we talk about a habit, we say that a habit is a behavior, is a repeated behavior so often that runs in our minds in an autopilot way. Remember, the mind or the brain has three substances. It has the conscious mind, we have the unconscious mind, and we have the superconscious mind. Today, I want to talk about the superconscious mind. I will focus my attention onto the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. Many of us walk and live life unconsciously. Albert Einstein put it well. He said that we are products of habits. Therefore, the things we did yesterday are the same things we're doing today, are the same things we'll do tomorrow, they're the same things we'll do next month, the same things we'll do next year. The way you woke up today may be the same time and the same way you woke up, or you've been waking up for the past maybe 3 to 4 years. So a habit is that unconscious repeated act in your life, or if you may like, call it a behavior. And how does a habit come into play? When you read Atomic Habits, this Brian Clear says that he puts them in 4 categories. He says that the first thing as how a habit starts in your life is by a clue. There's always a clue. For example, if you're a smoker, when you pass close to a place and somebody is smoking and you smell the smoke, that will be a clue that will ignite your brain, will ignite your body, dopamine, and want you to get into the routine. The routine is you do the act. And once you do the act, the feel good after what you've done is called a reward that goes to yourself. And that reward, when you keep the crew, when you keep the circle, crew routine reward for around 66 days, average, we say you have created a habit. So a habit is the consistent repeated act or behavior done consistently or insistently for 66 days. But have you ever asked yourself why it is easy to start a habit and very hard to stop? Why is it so easy to start on a new habit but very hard to stop? The answer falls into neurology, brain science. Now, we know that the brain loves efficiency. It loves the things that are easy. And whenever you keep doing the things that are easy for 66 days, as we have said, the brain automatically goes into the automatic state, which we may call the subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind takes over the conscious mind, and you find you repeat the act over and over again. The second is that why habits are hard to stop is that old patterns are very hard to break. Why? Because they remain. Think of this like a pathway. Every time you walk a new path, you leave some marks behind. And every time people keep following that same path, or if you keep following that same path, when you realize that behind you've left a really path. Like for example, if it is a garden or if it is a compound, and people decide to walk in a certain direction in that compound, you will find that after some time in that garden, there is a stretch and a path that has been created. Why? Because people have walked it over and over again. And that's how habits also are. And for you to stop or to put away that path, it becomes a little bit hard because all the grass has been taken away, the soil has been hard. So there is a pathway through. And this is because when you think, you use your emotions and the body is supposed to act. But whenever you think, use your emotions, you find that the body gets acquitted with the thinking and doing and the emotions, and it ends up acquiring that autonomy for it to be able to function without your thought and your emotions. So you're living in a loop of a habit, or you're living in a loop, which loop we call a habit. But there are three myths around habits. And for you to be able to change, you need to understand the things that are holding you back. The first is that many of us have been told that willpower is enough. The truth of the matter is that systems and crews matter more than just willpower. Willpower, for example, let's look at if you have ever started a car, you know that when you ignite, there is a spark. The spark is what causes the ignition, and the ignition turns on the engine. But we know that that spark alone cannot sustain the engine. The engine needs to be on. So when you say willpower is enough, you're just saying that the spark of the car is enough to run the engine. No, the engine has to get into motion and then the car moves. We have seen instances where when you ignite and the car refuses, yet the spark has been taken or has been a spark. So willpower does not create a habit. It is that consistent insistence that creates a habit. The second myth or the second misconception is that days, it takes 21, as I'd said, 66 to 21 days to form a habit. But the truth of the matter is that it takes 18 to 200 days to make a habit. And this depends on two fundamentals. One, consistency. Two, insistency. You need to consist and insist on that habit, on that act, on that behavior that you want to change for it to become a habit. Remember, it can be a positive habit or it can be a negative habit. Thinking makes the difference. It's like you plant a seed or you plant seeds and you expect these seeds to grow at the same time. It cannot. Each seed has its own time of growing. The same happens to a habit. To somebody, it might become a habit after 21 days. To another person, it can become a habit after 66 days. Another person, it may become a habit after 200 days. So the growth and partner and behavior are different, just like how we plant seeds and they grow in different time. The third misconception is that the habit can be erased. Yes and no. It's very hard to erase a habit. Just because you're no longer doing it does not mean you've erased it. Remember, we have talked about old pathways. The old pathways will remain, but can be replaced with a stronger pathway or a stronger one. So your new pathways can be replaced. You replace them with what? With a strong pathway that replaces the old habit. It's like when you walk in a forest, you leave a trail for some time. but it's very hard for that trail to go away. But you might have started a new trail. When you focus insistently and consistently on the new trail, the old one may stay, but the new one takes power over the old one. And that's what creates the difference. So when we talk about habits, are these invisible architectures that build up your life. And you are the architect. Once you see what happens or what you want, that's what you use. Once you see the things you don't want, you eliminate them. And that's why on every construction, there is an engineer who's supposed to guide the workers, who's supposed to guide on the floor on what they are building. And the same happens to you. You are the engineer of your own life. You need to sprout out. You need to prune. You need to eliminate. You need to add. The choice is yours. So there are 3 pillars on how we can eliminate bad habits and incorporate new habits. Or if you want to incorporate a new habit, we have said it is very hard to start a new habit and very hard to stop it. So the first thing you need to do when you want to start a new habit or to eliminate a bad habit, one, you need to recognize the pattern. We have said a pattern is a behavior that is consistent. And for us as human beings, we know we leave clues. And the first clue for you to eliminate a bad habit, one is to recognize the pattern. Recognizing the pattern is more or less of you standing and understanding what actually happens in your own mind. They tell us we are not killed by what we know, but what we think we know, but know not. So think of this as you standing and looking at the current of a river. We are swept by the unseen current of the river. But when you see it, you run. It's like when you're walking along the road and you see a car coming towards you, you will definitely run away to secure your life. But if you don't see it, it's easy for the car to knock you down. The same thing happens if you want to eliminate bad habits. One, we need to see the habit. Statistics tell us that 45% of our daily behavior are habits. Of 45% of our daily actions are habits. So one, you need to track your habit. You need to know it. Know what time it comes. It's like when you're waiting for the bus. You know what time it comes and what time it leaves. Or if you're going to catch a flight. Know. Track the habit. You can do this through journaling, you can do this through writing, you can do this through even using artificial intelligence. Today we have apps that can help you track your habit. The second, you need to identify your emotional triggers. Emotional triggers, we said, are the clues that put you in the routine or that put you in the act. For example, if you're a smoker, when do you feel like smoking? And that when is the clue. Is it on Friday? Is it when you bypass somebody and you find them smoking and that smoke really gets to you? Is it when you see something red? Or is it when you just see a smoke? You need to identify the clue. Because when you identify the clue, you short circuit the whole system. The third is that you need to map patterns. Create patterns other than goals. Whenever you catch yourself, ask yourself, what pattern is this? For example, if you're a smoker, and you catch the clue or you catch yourself or you identify the clue, then in your brain, talk to yourself, okay, now this is smoke and it makes me want to smoke. Then what after smoking? Or how does it feel? In the process of trying to evaluate yourself, you short circuit the whole system. That means you're breaking down the pattern, you're breaking down the clue. Why are you doing that? Because you have recognized the pattern, you have recognized the current. And every time you recognize the pattern and the current, that means you're halfway the puzzle. The second is that you need to use the pattern. It's not all about recognizing the pattern. You need to use the pattern. You need to be the master of the steering. Hold it and master it. Every time I grew up from a place where we had a river. And that river, many of you have heard about it. It's called River Nyamwamba. And that's, as young boys, we used to go to swim in that river. But during the rainy seasons, we knew the river would flood up and sometimes even destroy the banks or destroy property around it. But there's also at times when we would swim, but we are trying to swim uphill, yet the river is moving downhill. And it was very tiring. And at times you never even had to make it. But once you use the pattern once you understand that the river flows downstream and start swimming downstream, it becomes a little easier for you. And the same thing happens to patterns. You do not fight a habit. Everything you fight, you ignite. Everything that you try to fight will consist you creating friction, and whenever there is friction, there is back and forth, and that's what has stopped us from creating new habits or eliminating bad habits. Why? We want to fight them. And I'm telling you, you can't fight it. You need to use or understand the pattern, be in the steering wheel, know how does it flow, and that is what we call the habit loop, the habit loop. And I talked about it earlier, the crew, the routine, and the reward. So you need to use the pattern as well. You need to adjust on your habits. Also, 45% are more likely to stick if you don't use or if you ignore. And here, how do we use the pattern? One, you need to reframe habit loops. Reframe habit loops. This starts from the way you think, your self-talk, how you feel, the emotions, and how you act, your actions. Reframe. Reframing simply means when instead of saying, because we're in a process where you find somebody says that person, I hate that person. Instead of saying you hate them, just say they piss you off, because the word hate and pissing are two different things. Some other people will say, I do not like this. Please unmute because the echoes are coming back. Yes, thank you. So you need to learn how to reframe. Reframing is the talk that you give to a thing. The second, you need to pair new habits with existing one. If that habit that you want to eliminate, if you can pair it with a new positive habit, then you're good to go. So learn how to pair new habits with that habit that you want to eliminate. For example, you might be alcoholic. You drink too much. So how do you repair this? You tell yourself, please, can you unmute? The echoes are coming back. Apio and who and the J, please unmute. Thank you. So how do you pair new habits with existing habits? For example, if I'm a drunkard and I love to drink so much, I'll ask myself, when do I drink? Maybe it's only on Friday. Then what I'll do, I'll tell myself, every time I go to drink, I'll take a book to read. You see how I'm trying to eliminate the drinking and incorporating a new habit of reading? So in the long run, one will overtake the other. You'll find that I'll focus more on reading than drinking. And once I'm consistent and insistent, the negative habit maybe that I want to eliminate of drinking will start to deteriorate. It will start to drop. In the long run, it will be eliminated. And finally, we need to learn how to celebrate small wins. Reward yourself every time you do what you promised yourself to do. Reward yourself every time you stop doing what you promised yourself to stop doing. The challenge is that we never want to reward ourselves. Rewarding creates dopamine in the brain, which is the feel good, do good hormone, and that is the hormone that helps you retain that of which you want. So you need to learn how to reward yourself, because rewarding yourself will help you change the pattern. And finally, after you've recognized the pattern, use the pattern. The third is you need to make new patterns. It's like digging a new river channel. You know, every time you're doing something new, it is very hard. That's the truth. And it will be hard. That's the fact. But the more you keep doing it, the easier it becomes. Do you remember the first time you tried to ride a bicycle? It was very hard. You're moving from the unknown to the known. And once you moved from the known to the known, because the brain is programmed to lack to hate novelty, it loves to conform, so it sees that new habit as something very hard. So it will take you a lot of energy, a lot of time, but whenever you insist and consist, in the long run, it becomes easy. And once it becomes easy, then it becomes a habit. What are you eliminating to what are you planning to do? And statistics have told us that 66%, sorry, it takes 66 days to form a habit or 200 days. But remember, I said they vary depending on different circumstances. And 95 of the people that consist and are consistent and insistent normally replace good or bad habits as they desire. For example, you can decide today, I'm going to stop bedtime scrolling. Maybe I'll put off my phone every day at 8 p.m. Use the pattern. That's how you use the pattern. Then when 8 p.m. comes, actually put a reminder. When 8 p.m. comes, the phone reminds you that it has to be switched off. And once you switch it off, it simply means you are using the pattern. So using the pattern is taking the theoretical concept, the theoretical act, and doing it physically. And once you do it physically, one, you need to learn how to start small. If you want to build a muscle, don't go to the gym today and carry maybe a hand and do 100 weights. No, you need to be consistent. A person who goes to the gym and does 5 push-ups a day for 100 days is better than a person who goes to the gym and does 100 push-ups in one day. Remember, we are trying to build a habit. So it takes small steps over a given period of time for you to build a habit. The second, tie new habits to triggers. Find something that interests you and tie a bad habit on it that you want to eliminate. Because the interest will remind you of the negative or bad habit that you want to eliminate, and you start working on the good one. So always tie new habits on the triggers or on the habits that you want to eliminate. And finally, you have to have accountability persons. Have somebody to remind you, to tell you, hey, this is what you promised and this is what you're supposed to do. So accountability persons are those people that are accountable for your habit, for your new habit, for the things you want to eliminate and for the things that you want to incorporate in your life. Because we are social creatures, and every time we need somebody to push us, to remind us of what we want to do or to want to eliminate. So when you put all these three processes into play, you're able to either eliminate a pattern or introduce a new pattern. And the big take for today is that you need to remember that you are the architecture of your life. It is up to you to know which good brick you need to build, which bad brick you need to eliminate. But for you to be able to incorporate new habits or eliminate bad habits, you need to, one, know the pattern. What is this habit? Two, use the pattern. And three, you need to make use of new patterns. And once you do that, you are able to eliminate either negative habits or good habits. And that is a choice that you will take, and that is a choice that you have in all that you want to eliminate or incorporate in your life. Will it be easy? Definitely not. But out of consistent insistence, you'll be able to identify, use, and leave marks onto that you want to achieve and do in life. Thank you so much. I thought today was very important for us to jump into discussing habits and how habits build us and nurture us to become better. And most importantly, to know how we can eliminate bad habits from our life. Thank you so much for listening in. I'll take 2 or 3 questions. If we have people that want to ask, feel free.